Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. And I'm here today, nearing the end of the week, talking about the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians. Today, I want to talk about a couple more of these. And we find them, as I've said, in Galatians chapter 5, beginning with verse 22. It says, "But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control." So the second day, I talked about love and joy. Yesterday, I talked about peace and patience. And today, I'm going to talk about kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. So let's see what we can find here, perhaps. To start off with, kindness and goodness sounds kind of alike, but I don't think it is. Goodness, oh, I won't take them quite in order here. Goodness is a quality of being virtuous. It's who you are. Kindness is what you do. Goodness is having a righteous heart and a life that is concerned for other people. Kindness is doing something about it. And it says here that the Spirit gives us goodness and kindness. So if you don't want to be good, then I guess you should quit listening to me. But perhaps you do. And perhaps you're not quite as successful at it as you would like to be. So let me give you some ideas. Goodness, as I said, is an attitude of the heart. The only way to change that is to ask God to forgive you and change your heart. You can't change it. It's not something you have the capacity to do. You do have the capacity to know where it is and what it is. If you know that you're not virtuous, okay, that's a good step. Some people won't admit it. If you know that your heart does not turn to righteousness first and always, then that's a good start. You ask God to change that and be willing to be something different. Now, if goodness is part of your life and the fruit that's showing, then kindness will be the actions that you demonstrate that goodness with. And I have a list here of some of them I made up. Let me just look through them for you. First off, you focus on others. That's right, you put yourself not first. There's some people, they think they deserve all the attention. Well, they don't. And the way to counteract that is to deliberately and intentionally focus on others. One way you can do that is to offer a helping hand. You need some help with something? Maybe it's a colleague at work. Maybe it's a neighbor. Maybe it's a family member. Is there anything I can do to help? And when you say, is there anything, be sure you really mean anything, not just some things. Another thing you can do is be sure and listen. You know, a lot of us talk a lot. We don't listen so good. And sometimes the way to help somebody is to just listen. I've noticed at funerals, it's really consistent. When you come to a funeral or a visitation, people will tell you the story of how the person died. And then the next person comes up and they tell the same story. And the next person comes up and they tell the same story. And if you happen to be there for any length of time, you might be thinking, golly, why don't they say something else? Well, because they have to be able to talk about it. And our job is to smile and listen. You can send care packages to people, those that you know, those that you don't know. They don't have to be huge. Just send them a little gift. And if you don't know them, say, it's from a friend who cares. Lift up their day, uplift it, give them something to smile about. You have to stay connected with people that you've already reached out to. Don't just say, can I help you one time and never ask again. I mean, the time you ask, they may not need any help, but then later on they will. And here's a good thing, to expect God to have good things happen. You know, there's some real, as we call them, Debbie Downers in this world. Perhaps you know one. I hope you're not one who always look at the worst, always expect the worst. I try really hard not to do that. It's not that I'm an optimist. It's just I know that there's a God who does great things. And I don't know why he wouldn't do them in whatever situation comes along. Here's a simple one you can do. Smile at others. Share some of the joy that may be in your heart with your face. Ask people how they're doing. And if they do talk about it, then go back to a previous one and listen. You can compliment people. Tell them how good they're doing. Even if it's not perfect, you're not perfect. Why would you expect somebody else to be? You can say, thank you, I'm sorry, and mean it. That's a toughie, and I understand that. And then the last on my list of how to show kindness is be kind to yourself. Don't put yourself down. Don't always think the very first thought, oh, well, I'm not very good. If someone asks you to do something, then say, I don't think I know how to do that. Don't say, oh, I can't do that. Because you could learn. When I was doing active mission work in Central America, I told my partners down there, whatever you ask me to try to do, I'll try it. I don't know if I can succeed, but I'll try. And over the years, I was able to find and take down and bring talent in ways that I never ever imagined. Be kind to yourself. And that's kindness. And then the last one for today is faithfulness. You got to stick to whatever it is you agree to do. I know people make New Year's resolutions. Maybe you made one. Most of the time, by now, when you're listening to me, they've forgotten their New Year's resolution. It didn't last very long. Be faithful. Be a person who's known as someone who will get it done if they say so. Now, maybe it'll take you longer than you planned. Maybe it'll be more complicated than you planned. But be faithful. So today, I've talked about kindness and goodness and faithfulness. Tomorrow, last day of the week, I'll finish up. Thanks so much for listening. If you have a need or concern, please let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. God bless you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.